Good Sunday morning to you, everyone. I'm Terry Wood. Welcome to the county seat. We all know the word conservation and what it means, to protect and reserve. We know the word district and what that means. It's an area. But do we know what a conservation district is? Well, we're going to find out today, because conservation districts throughout the state of Utah will amaze you with what they can do, and they benefit all of us in the state of Utah. So before we get to our panel of experts today, let's take a look at one conservation district project. It's the Wallsberg project. Here's Derek Dowsett to explain.
After the Dust Bowl in the 1930s, there was a movement nationwide to conserve land and resources to prevent future damage to the environment and agriculture. That movement led to the creation of soil conservation districts in Utah back in 1937. Today, there are 38 conservation districts across the state, but their efforts go beyond simply protecting the soil.
Conservation districts are charged with protecting the soil, the water, the plants, the animals, the air. And when a landowner comes in and they approach a conservation district, they have concerns on their property, whether it be eroding streams or grazing problems. They're the vehicle to get things done.
We do these projects because there's a natural resource concern. And the concern on this project was the phosphorus getting into Deer Creek.
The project near Wallsberg is focused on restoring the health of a local stream. Conservation districts are varied all across the state and tackle a number of issues that could impact natural resources. Once a problem is identified, the local conservation district becomes the liaison between landowners to identify solutions and find the necessary resources to get the project underway. Before a project can get off the ground, there is one important element that must be in place.
The cooperation from the landowners is number one. Without the landowners, there's no project, because this is really their project. The conservation districts, we come to them and say, how can we help you, or there's a concern.
I probably dragged my foot on this more than anybody else. I probably have been the biggest pain in the neck to Alan, the NRCS people. I didn't want to be involved because of all the stuff that it looked like was going to go on, what I was giving up and that. And it's far better than I ever anticipated.
It's hard to imagine it now, but before you see these beautiful meanders, this stream was a straight stretch, straight as an arrow. The stream would speed up real quick and it would down cut, and that was adding a lot of soil in. And the Conservation District found a whole lot of funding from various sources, and we came in and we put these meanders in to slow the water down, keep the soil where it's supposed to be. The landowner's happy because they're not losing their soil, they're able to utilize the water. And then residents of the Wasatch Front are happy because the water that comes out of your faucet's cleaner.
The success of conservation districts working with landowners can be attributed largely to their grassroots approach.
The Conservation District has local ties to landowners. They know them personally because they're farmers themselves, and these type of projects enable landowners to be great stewards of the land.
In addition to the landowners' involvement, there are also a number of partners that make projects a success. The project at Wallsberg was made up of 30 different partners, all working together to improve the quality of the stream that now meanders calmly down toward Deer Creek Reservoir.
To get this many landowners together to do a treatment on an entire reach is very rare. We'd like to see it happen more often. It's just, it takes a lot of work. This has taken us, I bet, close to 10 years to get to where we're at today.
We've really saved a lot of ground. We've made a lot more grass. We're running more cows now than we have in the past. But I didn't believe it could happen like this. And I think we give this another 3 or 4 years and see some of the willows and the plantings and how they come back. And I think if people come and see what's here, then they'll realize, hey, I can do that too.
For the county seat, I'm Derek Dowsett.
Thank you, Derek. Very good. That is an interesting story of what a soil conservation district can do as far as stream restoration goes, but they have a wide array of projects all over the state of Utah. We'll be back in just a moment to meet our panel of experts.
Kanab, base camp for your southern Utah adventures. belong in Kanab.
The weekends just never feel like they're long enough. By the time you get to a destination, you're worn out and you may need a vacation to recover from your last vacation. The solution is closer than you think, and that's just what you need. You can find the desert at Little Sahara, the cool refreshment of Yuba Lake, escape to the green of the forest on the Nebo Loop. Join us August 3rd through the 8th for the Juab County Fair, and the Demolition Derby will be August 8th. Make your escape to Juab County. It'll change your family forever.
I lived in Phoenix and then down in Orange County in California, and I met a small town girl and she brought me home. Just the smaller community that makes you feel like when you go somewhere you know everybody. You know, the sporting programs, the dance events, all these kinds of things, you run into people you know and that care about you and your family. And that makes it just a wonderful place to have little ones like this.
Isn't it time you found the balance you've been looking for? Uinta County, Utah. Color. It's something that can be seen. But have you ever wanted to reach out and touch it? Experience it. In San Juan County, Utah, color comes to life like nowhere else on earth. Color can be more than an abstract. Color can be your gateway to a new world. Visit San Juan County and explore the past, present, and future in a way that you've only dreamed of. San Juan County. Color your experience.
Welcome back, everyone. Let me introduce our panel today for you, and I think we're going to have a pretty interesting discussion on some of these projects. First of all, we'll start down at the far end of the table. That's Dave Brown. He is a state conservationist with the Natural Resources Conservation Service, and that is an arm of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Next to him, Spencer Holmgren. Spencer is a supervisor for the Northern Utah Conservation District. And next to Spencer, here next to me too, is Luann Adams. She's the Commissioner of Agriculture of the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food. Thank you very much for joining us today. Now, I have to admit, and I told them before we started the program, I know very little about conservation districts other than they do exist. So let's begin for explaining to our viewers. I know some will know about it, others maybe not. What's a conservation district and how did this all begin in the first place, the background of conservation districts?
Well, I can start out, Spencer, and then you can fill in sort of what districts are. So about 80 years ago, the Dust Bowl was happening here in the West. And as a response to that, Congress created then the Soil Conservation Service, now the Natural Resources Conservation Service. And like today, the idea of we're the government, we're here to help, didn't sound like a great business model. And so at the same time that the federal arm, Federal Soil Conservation Service was being developed, they also crafted some sample legislation that states could use to create local conservation districts. And those local conservation districts are incredibly important to our agency. They're our local partners. So we've got a federal agency that's charged with helping farmers and ranchers manage their lands in a way that makes them productive, profitable ag enterprises, but at the same time helps them be good stewards of the environment. And having that local partner, these local conservation districts, is really what makes this partnership really work well.
Mm-hmm. That's very true, and the local flavor of the conservation districts is throughout the state of Utah. There are 38 districts in 29 counties, hence there's a few extra districts in a few of the counties in the state. They're all manned by or by elected individuals. There's 5 supervisors in each conservation district elected by their constituents in the areas that they represent.
That's an elected position.
Yes.
Huh? Are you elected, Spencer?
I am, yeah. And we are elected, it's a 4-year term, so I'm in my second term right now, and it is a group of individuals who represent, in our area at least, a lot of different diverse parts of our county, in our district. I mean, you've got dry farmers, cattlemen, the dairy industry. We have the fruit industry up in our area and things like that. So we try to be representative of those individuals, bringing the local flavor to the agencies we work with.
You mentioned there's more service districts than there are, or conservation districts than there are counties in Utah. Is it basically a rural thing, or do the Wasatch Front counties also have conservation districts?
It's rural and urban. These conservation districts are in every one of the counties in our state, so some of them are urban counties, and they do projects in the urban counties too. And the nice thing about these conservation districts is, like Spencer was saying, they're elected by their constituents, so the farmers and ranchers trust them. And so when they suggest ideas and projects, they trust what they're saying, and they're able to get more conservation on the ground. And also at the same time that these conservation districts were formed, there was the Conservation Commission that was formed. And this is a state-run commission that's under the Department of Agriculture. And there's 16 board members on there, and the Commissioner of Agriculture and Food is the chair. So right now I'm the chair of this board. And what we do is we contract resources and money to the conservation districts every year. And also we're kind of the check and balance of the conservation districts. We audit them once a year to make sure that the money's spent right and that their forms and their reports are done correctly. So it really works well together.
You know, we should point out that Luann is not only the Commissioner of Agriculture for the state of Utah, but you're a rancher yourself in northern Utah. Are you a stakeholder in one of the conservation districts? Does it affect your ranch? Have you worked with them for a long time?
You know, we have worked with them for a long time. In fact, I'm a person that we get a vote. Our ranch gets to vote for one of these conservation district supervisors, and it's been great. We've seen lots and lots of projects in our area that has helped conservation of soil and water in Box Elder County.
You know, let's talk about that for just a second. We saw the story a few minutes ago about the Wallsberg project, and that was rather interesting. But I'd like to know what other kinds of projects, it covers a vast array of topics. What other kind of projects do you have going through the state of Utah?
One, for instance, is we did a mapping of field drains under all of the irrigated land in Box Elder County and some in Cache County. And this is a mapping of drains that were installed at the turn of the century till present time that drain away the salinity of the soil up there, making it a very productive valley. And it has been a great project for us. And the necessity of this thing is that we're having a great influx of development in our area, and a lot of the old timers have gone away, and the knowledge of where those drains are under the earth or in the soil is going away with the passing of individuals who own those properties. And new people come in, developers or even new landowners that are farming it and need to know where these are. So we developed a great booklet full of mapping of our drainage systems up there, documenting where they are, their depth and their flow and things like that. And it's important because sometimes a person will want to build a home on a piece of ground, dig down and find this pipe under where he was going to build his home and find out that there was a huge problem.
Then there's a big problem.
Or utility companies.
Yeah, or utility companies as well. And it's been a vital device that we've put together there for our county, for the communities and for the individuals. So the individuals, I mean, whether they be farmers or ranchers or just someone who's purchased a parcel of land and wants to build on it, they have that knowledge now. And that's just one thing. We are in such a diverse state. There are all kinds of projects going on throughout the state. I can speak mostly of my own area, but we have we've built a number of fire breaks on the Promontory Peninsula to protect the landowners up there and to reduce the spread of wildfire, hopefully saving taxpayer dollars by controlling the imminent fire danger that was produced each year from the growth of plants. And we've worked with water projects. I mean, it's just an ongoing thing. There's no end to the number of projects that are going on throughout the state of Utah.
Are there more than one project going on in several districts
Oh yeah,
There'll be hundreds of projects going on around
literally
hundreds. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anywhere from irrigated land to rangeland, and you mentioned the Wasatch Front. Through our partnership now, we're starting to work with a lot of these small organic type producers that are here in these urban areas that are the folks that you see at the farmers market. So we've got a whole new clientele there as well.
Well, that'll be interesting to find out what you're doing with the organic producers, and I know you also have wildlife projects and stream restoration projects that we can all benefit from perhaps. So what we'll do now is we'll take a break. We'll come back and talk about those projects in a minute.
What would you do with an extra day in Utah Valley? Explore the Wasatch Mountains? Snap a family photo at Bridal Veil Falls. Cool off on Utah Lake or the Provo River. No matter what you're searching for, you can find it in Utah Valley. Bring everyone together.
Why is it that environmental protection and economic development are often placed at odds with each other? In Duchesne County, they have both. Here, modern industry and resource development go hand in hand with some of the most pristine wilderness in the western United States. A strong economy balanced with a lifestyle of exploration and discovery. But don't take my word for it. Go visit them. Duchesne County, close enough for business, far enough to get away.
There is a place where looking out means looking in, where an impression lasting only a few seconds will be imprinted on a life forever, where courage is forged and innocence rediscovered, where remembering is rewarding and forgetting unforgettable. There is a place where truth is felt and where seeing is believing. There is a place.
If you're looking for the center of the universe, well, good luck. But if you're looking for the center of the off-road universe, look no further than Paiute County. Hundreds of miles of trails turn your day of riding into a week, maybe a month. Heck, a lifetime wouldn't be enough. And this coming August is the perfect opportunity to hit the trail and participate in the Paiute Trail Jamboree. Take off from downtown Maryville by ATV or UTV and ride the most famous destinations in the world. Explore Paiute County and discover the magic and beauty of the land where the rainbow ends.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking about conservation districts today. Now, you may think this is something that only the rural farmers and ranchers benefit from. No, there are benefits to just about everybody in the entire state. Some of these projects involve environmental issues, wildlife issues, and water issues too. Maybe, Dave, you can tell us about some of the projects that are going on.
Absolutely. So through our partnership with conservation districts, the federal arm, the NRCS, we bring about $20 million in financial assistance to producers around the state. And in years like this, a lion's share of that money is going to help irrigators do that more efficiently. We're helping them install sprinkler systems, be more efficient in irrigation water management. And so that's not only a benefit to them and their crop production, but definitely a benefit to everyone in terms of water savings.
Especially this year.
Absolutely this year, yeah.
What about wildlife?
Likewise, so we have projects. Sage grouse, of course, is an issue here in the state. We're working very closely with State Department of Agriculture and Division of Wildlife Resources in helping develop and protect, enhance habitat for sage grouse, trying to keep that bird from being listed as an endangered species.
Mm-hmm. And you do stream restoration too?
Yeah, stream restoration as well.
To it like its original course, not just straightening her out.
Right. And both in terms of trying to help the in-stream fish habitat, but also downstream water quality. And I think in the Wallsberg example, I mean, there's certainly some on-site benefits there, but really the downstream benefit is to improving water quality in the reservoir downstream.
All comes back to what we drink there, doesn't it?
And speaking of the Wallsberg project, that's a good example of partnerships. There were 31 partners in the Wellstream.
31?
Wallsberg stream project.
On one project?
That's right. They were federal, they were state, they were local county and cities and universities, as well as 11 landowners.
How did everybody get along together?
I don't know. They worked really hard.
Well, with the leadership of conservation districts, it works pretty well. It can take a little time, but it's well worth the effort.
And I think that's what conservation districts are. They're kind of the liaison for the state and the federal partners, and they bring it back to the ranchers.
This partnership is an interesting aspect of it. I mean, how do you put together, when you have a project before you, do you go out and seek out the partners then? How does this come about?
I believe that what we do is we identify a need, and then you try to figure the partners that you want to bring on board and see, because each one of them can bring different, or come from different areas, and there's some overlapping, intersecting benefits from those, as well as to the individual landowner. Our relationships that we've built with landowners and things as conservation districts is far more palatable for the landowner than having the government come in and no offense.
No, none taken. Yeah.
the government come in and pull in and start indicating or trying to drive their point into these individuals who hold their property near and dear to them. So hence I think that relationship quality is very good, and I think we can bring more people to the table that way in a pleasing way because of they're our neighbors and friends, and we work with them.
And everything we do through this partnership is on a voluntary basis. So when landowners want to work with us, they do, and if they choose not to, they don't. But again, through this local leadership, oftentimes they're more interested in coming to the table and participating.
There have been some that have turned us down.
You know, I can see potential conflict. Sometimes in the state of Utah, environmental interest will clash with farming and ranching interest in various, but do you manage to bring them together in these projects?
Absolutely. Trout Unlimited, for example, a local national environmental group has been working with us closely on a couple of additional stream rehabilitation projects recently. So.
And Audubon in Box Elder County has been working with us out in western Box Elder County. And the nice thing about all these partnerships that come together, they also bring money to the table, and so you're able to do more.
Money and expertise. The Nature Conservancy is one of a great partner with us in terms of projects as well as easement acquisition.
So these stakeholders are putting their money where their mouth is.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes it work, along with the partnerships. Well, tell you what, we'll take a break here in a minute, but I want to find out what maybe you have on the table for the future. Okay? You can tell secrets. We'll be back in just a moment to find out what's in store for Utah Conservation Districts and you.
Kanab, base camp for your southern Utah adventures. You belong in Kanab.
Unlimited opportunity for adventure. It's all about knowing where to look. ATV adventures, rock crawling events, art festivals, and wildlife events. The opportunities are limitless. Plan your stay and join us for MCR Racing at the Millard County Raceway and Millard County Fair, August 5th through the 8th. Pick your adventure in Millard County.
Davis County is the amusement capital of Utah, where people of all ages can enjoy fun rides and family attractions all year long. Experience over 50 thrilling rides at Lagoon, bowling or miniature golf at Boondocks, cool off with the family at Cherry Hill, or get out of the house and over to the Rush Funplex. There's no end to the fun you can have in Davis County. Come to eat, stay, and play. Plan your next visit by going to playindavis.com and discover the fun for yourself. Bring the family to Lake Town, Utah, August 21st through the 23rd, and step back into the 1800s for an authentic mountain man rendezvous featuring pre-1840 mountain man traders, Native American dancers, craftsman demonstrations, black powder shooting, and more. Join us at the actual site where mountain men gathered over 175 years ago to trade for supplies and prove their abilities through competition. The Bear Lake Rendezvous. Find out more at bearlakerendezvous.com.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking about conservation districts and the projects that benefit the people of Utah. And, as we said a moment ago, what's coming up? What are some of the conservation projects that people can look forward to in the future?
Well, one we've just started recently with Utah Forestry Fire State Lands is a partnership project where we're helping do proactive brush control and fuels management to reduce the risk of catastrophic wildfire.
Where's this happening?
It could be happening all around the state.
So it's a statewide?
It's statewide, but they'll be picking specific locations. I think the first one's going to be just south of Tooele, first area that we work on for that one. Yeah.
There does seem to be a lot of fires in that area.
Yeah.
Anything else? The good projects you can think of coming up here? Well, I'll tell you what I wanted to ask you. As I'm sitting here thinking about this, say an individual, whether the farmer, rancher, just an individual sitting out there, or an individual group, say a resource group, has an idea for something that could be done in their area, how would they go about getting that as a conservation district project?
Well, first I think they'd come to either one of the supervisors or to a district meeting and present their idea, you know, to the conservation district. And then, you know, we would put our heads together and brainstorm a bit and see what agencies we could bring on board through partnering with to bring this to pass, if you will. And we kind of weigh and measure things and see if it's actually viable, if it's doable, if you will. And
well, you know, I just like to say that I think conservation is more important today than it was back in the 1930s.
Oh, yeah.
We're dealing with water quality and quantity and soil, and as the population in Utah continues to grow, conservation of water is going to be more important. And then if we have these extreme drought conditions that we've been having over the last little while, that's also going to be important. And I think conservation is a key element to preserving our natural resources for our future generations.
Are these projects being funded like they should be, do you think? Have you got enough money to do what needs to be done?
There's never enough money.
There's never enough, but we certainly have money to do a lot of good. And I think what you see is federal money, state money, local money. I mean, the farmers and ranchers are putting up their funds in these projects as well. So when you bring everyone to the table, do this thing collectively, you just get a lot more done than say I could through my agency just using our federal funding.
Well, I said earlier in the program that I didn't know much about conservation districts. I think I've learned a great deal from you, and I think it's fascinating, especially the partnerships and the fact that an idea can start with anybody. How do they find when their district meeting is? What would they do to find out? If they have an idea, somebody out there has an idea, where would they find their district meeting?
That is on the websites, the UACD website for the conservation districts, and they're different days of the week and months, so they can find them.
Well, I thank you very much for an informative and interesting program today.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
I'm Terry Wood for the County Seat. Thank you for joining us.
If you like this video, then we invite you to subscribe to our channel, The County Seat. You can do that here. And we invite you to share with your friends. We also invite you to get all the latest up-to-date information by following us on our social media channels. And if all else fails, make sure that you watch The County Seat Sunday morning at 8:30 right here on ABC4